Level 1, the informant. You're 20 years old in Leningrad, studying law at the university not because you love the law, but because a man in a gray suit told you it was the best way to avoid the military draft. It is 1974. You are sitting in the back of a lecture hall when a man from the personnel department approaches you. He doesn't ask for your name. He already knows it. He knows your grades, your family history, and that you have no Jewish ancestry, the mandatory clearance for what comes next. He offers you a choice that isn't really a choice. You can cooperate, or you can disappear into the Siberian infantry. You nod. You agree to perform special tasks. Your job is simple. You watch. You listen. You share a dorm with students who complain about the Communist Party, who read banned Western books, or who make jokes about the Politburo. You don't argue with them. You buy them cheap vodka, you laugh at their jokes, and then, at 2 a.m., you sit at a desk and write down every single name. You hand the paper to your handler the next morning. 3 days later, the boy who made the joke about the general secretary doesn't show up for class. The next week, his family is evicted from their apartment. You don't ask where he went. You are making no money, but you are earning trust. In the Soviet Union, trust is the only currency that keeps you alive. You tell yourself you are protecting the state. You tell yourself it was just a joke, but the state does not have a sense of humor. Level 2, the junior lieutenant. You graduate and officially join the Committee for State Security, the KGB. You are sent to the 401st School in Okhta for 6 months of training. You learn the tradecraft, cryptography, counterintelligence, and how to follow a man for 3 miles without him ever noticing your face. When you finish, they assign you to the 5th Chief Directorate. You are the political police. Your job isn't fighting foreign spies. Your job is crushing your own people. You monitor athletes, artists, and religious figures. You stand in the shadows during an Orthodox Easter procession, taking photographs of anyone who looks too devoted to God instead of the party. You learn that violence is sloppy. The system is much more effective. A group of dissidents gathers near the Bronze Horseman statue to protest. You don't send in men with batons. Instead, you organize a counter-demonstration, bringing in a loud brass marching band to drown out their voices while your operatives quietly corner the leaders. 2 poets who organized the protest are quietly arrested and sentenced to forced labor camps. You ruined their lives with a few typed pages in a manila folder. In return, the KGB promotes you to senior lieutenant and moves your family out of a cramped communal apartment into a private flat. You sleep perfectly fine in your new bed. You have stopped seeing people as humans. They are just variables. Level 3, the case officer. You are transferred to the 1st Department of the Leningrad KGB. You think this is your big break into foreign espionage, but you quickly realize it is a bureaucratic backwater. The department is filled with disgraced officers who were demoted from Moscow. Your job is to monitor for foreign tourists and low-level consular officials visiting the city, looking for anyone desperate enough to be recruited as a spy. You spend your days sitting in freezing cars outside hotels, watching Finnish businessmen and American college students. You review files passed down from the 2nd Department, trying to find a target with a gambling debt or a drinking problem. You approach an American tourist at a bar, buying him a drink, hinting that you can offer him opportunities. He gets nervous and walks away. You go back to your office and type a 30-page report on why the recruitment failed. There is no James Bond glamour here. There are no laser watches or silenced pistols. There is just endless paperwork, cold coffee, and the crushing realization that you are wasting your life watching tourists buy souvenirs. You know you need to get to Moscow. You need to get to the West. Level 4, the FCD trainee. You push your commander for a recommendation and finally get accepted into the elite Yuri Andropov Red Banner Institute in Moscow. You are preparing for the 1st Chief Directorate, FCD, the absolute elite of foreign intelligence. The moment you walk through the doors, your real name is erased. You are given an alias, Vladimir Platov. For an entire year, you do not exist. You are assigned to the German language section. You train obsessively. You memorize the street maps of West German cities, the cultural habits of the Austrians, and the political structures of Switzerland. You undergo brutal paratrooper training. You are taught how to withstand interrogation, how to manage dead drops, and how to recruit assets. But the instructors are watching your mind, not just your body. In your final evaluation, the colonel writes that you are withdrawn and uncommunicative. Even worse, he notes that you have a lowered sense of danger. In the spy world, a lack of fear doesn't make you brave. It makes you a liability. Because of that report, you become an orphan, Runo, top-tier Western Department wants you. Your dream of walking the streets of London or Washington is dead. Instead, they send you to the Eastern Bloc. Level 5, the liaison officer. You are posted to Dresden, East Germany. You work in Line N of Directorate S, operating out of a heavily guarded 3-story villa on Angelika Strasse. Your job is to handle illegals, raw Soviet sleeper agents operating deep undercover in the West. You are supposed to be on the front line of the Cold War, but the reality is pathetic. The office is overstaffed and underfunded. You don't even have a computer or a printer. You write top-secret intelligence reports on a manual typewriter, literally sewing the pages together with a needle and thread to send to Berlin. You spend most of your time arguing with the Stasi, the East German secret police. They don't trust you. They monitor your residency. When you try to recruit local informants, the Stasi blocks you, claiming jurisdiction. You are ordered to participate in Operation Ryan, a massive initiative to detect a sudden NATO nuclear first strike. You spend months desperately looking for East Germans who have relatives near U.S. military bases in Bavaria. You find almost no one. You realize the entire operation is a massive waste of resources. The isolation eats at you. You drink too much local Raidburger beer, you put on weight, you are a lieutenant colonel, but you feel like a glorified clerk. Level 6, the resident. You finally get your Western posting. It is the late 1980s. You are transferred to the Soviet Embassy in Washington, D.C., operating under diplomatic cover as a cultural attaché. You are a senior officer now. You don't chase assets, they come to you. The ideological spies of the 1930s are gone. Nobody spies for communism anymore. They spy for cash. An American intelligence officer walks into your embassy, demanding $1 million in exchange for top-secret CIA rosters. You are managing men like Aldrich Ames and Robert Hansen. You never meet them face-to-face. You use dead drops. You tape a garbage bag full of $50,000 in untraceable bills under a wooden footbridge in a Virginia park at 3:00 a.m. You leave a chalk mark on a specific mailbox to signal the drop is ready. The paranoia is suffocating. The FBI's counterintelligence units are everywhere. You drive for 4 hours through suburban neighborhoods, taking random turns, running red lights just to see if a dark sedan is following you. You know that one mistake, one mole, and the Americans will expel you as persona non grata. You are moving the pieces on the most dangerous chessboard in the world. Level 7, the Directorate Z Commander. You are recalled to Europe. It is late 1989, and the Soviet Empire is bleeding out. You are stationed back in Dresden when the Berlin Wall falls. Thousands of angry East German protesters storm the Stasi headquarters. Then a splinter group marches toward your KGB villa on Angelikastrasse. You are outnumbered. You step outside and lie to the crowd, telling them it is a Soviet military facility and that your guards will shoot. You rush back inside and desperately call the Red Army headquarters for backup. The voice on the radio tells you, "We cannot do anything without orders from Moscow," and Moscow is silent. You realize, in that freezing moment, that the state you dedicated your life to has abandoned you. You and your colleagues frantically shove decades of classified documents into the basement furnace. You burn the files of every informant, every illegal, every operation, until the furnace physically overheats and cracks. You spend the next 3 months destroying the archives in open burn pits. You pack your bags and flee back to a crumbling Soviet Union. You are a ghost returning to a haunted house. Level 8, the Chairman. It is August 1991. You have survived the purges, the political shifts, and the collapse of the bloc. You now sit at the very top of the KGB in the infamous Lubyanka building in Moscow. You are the chairman. You command an empire, 40,000 elite guards, the border troops, the nuclear communications network, and the terrifying Alpha and Wimpel Spetsnaz groups. But President Gorbachev is tearing the country apart with his reforms. The Soviet Union is dissolving. You and a group of hardline generals decide that the only way to save the state is to take it back. You launch a massive coup d'etat. You declare a state of emergency. You order columns of tanks to roll into the streets of Moscow to crush the new democratic government. You expect the people to cower in fear, just like they have for 70 years. But they don't. The citizens swarm the streets. They climb onto the tanks. The military refuses your orders to fire on the crowds. The coup collapses in 3 days. On December 3, 1991, the decree is signed. The KGB, the most feared intelligence agency in human history, is officially dissolved. You watch from your office window as the crowd topples the statue of the KGB founder outside Lubyanka. You have lost. But as you pack your briefcase, you don't panic. You know the truth. Empires fall, flags change, and agencies get new names like the FSB and the SVR. But power doesn't disappear. It just changes hands. The Soviet Union is dead. But the men who ran it from the shadows? You're not going anywhere. This is the KGB, a machine that takes a desperate student and grinds him down until all that's left is a paranoid, calculating weapon. You climb the ranks from a ghost taking notes in a classroom to a commander ordering tanks in the streets. You survive the Cold War, the betrayals, and the collapse of an empire. You realize that governments fall and borders change, but the secrets and the men who hold them live forever.